we're here, you just spoke to the Emergency Social Data Summit at the Red Cross here in Washington. How has the emergence of social media changed the definition and will for how a citizen is prepared in this day and age for disasters?
Well, I think it's, several things are happening. I think a lot of people focus on Twitter, Facebook, and all these technologies, and I'm really focused on the survivors themselves and the fact that we have a better platform to communicate with people and provide more personal information. But something we've never really had the ability to do is to see what people are dealing with and see the information that they're putting out about their experiences to help us better shape our response. And so I think this two-way conversation, not necessarily a one-on-one conversation, but the conversation that is taking place with social media adds a whole different dimension to how we can provide assistance and look at making sure our assistance is tailored to the needs in a disaster area.
Technical sorry about that. Sticking. Okay. You recently, yesterday actually, tweeted out that you are the one who actually FEMA, Craig at FEMA at Twitter, that you're actually the person who does the tweets. You don't have your staff over here do it. You got a lot of response. What have you learned since being under Twitter, and what input have you gotten, and how valuable has it been for you personally to have that interaction with the public and others in the community?
Well, I think one, it gets rid of the mystique of being an administrator in a federal agency. There always seems to be these barriers between you and interacting with people every day. And so Twitter actually gives me a chance just to point out things. And if you follow my tweets, you find out I'm not really out there doing a whole lot of stuff other than talking about preparedness or looking at interesting sites that have good information that I think may be useful both to my peers but also the public. So like one of the really cool things I thought was happening was with the National Hurricane Center. For a long time on the Hurricane Center site, they always had the static graphics. Well, if you go now, they've actually started providing the data feeds for GIS, so you can bring these things into different types of viewers like Google Maps or Microsoft Bing. And that's something that I thought was pretty cool, so I wanted to highlight that the Hurricane Center was now putting out their information in a way that the public could use it in their products versus just looking at static maps and graphics.
How do you accelerate the use of social media among the public, not the audience here, but those who may not even use it? But what's government's role to sort of accelerate use of social media and technology for the average citizen?
I think we need to make this decision that we can't really control or force people or try to make people use social media, but we can add value to the people using social media. And what we find is if we can improve people's experiences and usefulness of a product, people will start using it more and more. And so one of the things we're focused on at FEMA is, yes, we redesigned the web page, but we're really reorienting and focusing on how are people really getting information today. And a lot of times it's with a smartphone. Not everybody, but a lot more people. Well, let's start moving towards putting information out there in a way that's useful to them. And in some cases, putting out data feeds and other things that are saying, I don't know how you're going to use the information, and I don't want to predetermine how you want to look at it. So let me put my information out there in a format that allows you the flexibility to adjust it so it's useful to you, not the way I think it would be useful.
One final question. The National Preparedness Month is coming up. What are your goals this year? What would you like at the end of the month? Is there anything particular that you'd like to accomplish when it comes to the public this month?
I'd like people to go and read In Case of Emergency, because your blog, I think, in many cases asks questions that challenge both the federal government and our role, but also challenge the public. And I think if you get right down to it, if I could just get people to do one thing, and that is, do they have a communication plan for their family? As you point out, we sometimes make this so complex that it turns people off. So if we could just get one thing started and just do something very basic that is useful every day of your lives, is to have a family communication plan and start there and not try to do everything all at once, but just take the first step. Then we can help and get you more information to get better prepared before disaster strikes.
Thank you for your support.